Now, Michael was born in Romania. It was under communist rule at the time. And he fled the country, and wait till you hear the story how. Absolutely incredible what he did to get out, but he fled the country around 1989. He was about 18 years old, ended up in Sweden for a while. That didn't work out, and wait to hear the story why. And then he ended up in Halifax, and then eventually in Vancouver, where he lives now. I can't imagine the struggles that you went through, to try to get out of Romania, get to Switzerland, and then on to Halifax. Like how you did it was just absolutely amazing. So I think, the listeners would enjoy hearing that story. So you were born in Romania. At the time, Romania was under communist rule.
Correct.
And your parents were both tailors.
Yes, yeah. My mom and my dad, they all worked as a tailor.
So tell us about...
To build suits, that's a kind of old European style to have custom suit made for you. So that's what they're doing.
Okay. Now tell us a little bit about the experience. Take us through what it was like back then. I know there was food rationing and all that sort of thing. So help the listeners understand what it was like living in Romania back then as a family.
Yeah, my father especially was thrown in jail for being outspoken against the regime, and myself, I didn't want to have the same life, and I was the black sheep in the family, and I want to have a better life than that, and for myself and for my family, and I decided to leave the country in 1989. I was about 18 years old, and it's mandatory to go to military service when you are finished high school. So I went to military service for about a year and a half, and then I left the country illegally.
Tell us about the experience, and I want to get to when you left, obviously, and how you managed to pull that off. But tell us about, when we say food rationing, what specifically do you mean by food rationing?
As a family, if I remember correctly, you only allowed half a liter of oil per month, one loaf of bread every 3 days, half a kilogram of meat every 3 days, and so forth. So you even had to line up for it, and that's all you got.
So really what they were trying to do is by controlling everything, they were trying to suppress the society.
Correct.
And control the society. Now, what about as a child? Did you have, toys and games and what was it like? You probably at the time thought it was normal, but compared to what you see kids with now, what was it like back then?
Well, definitely a different generation. As you know, internet computers were not invented until 15, 20 years ago. But I don't think I had toys. I mostly play outside with my friends on the same street and play soccer. Chocolate wasn't a thing back then. I remember getting presents, and I was excited to get chocolate in the Christmas time. So that was just, when I think back then, my history, I was like, what? Okay, now you can go by here anytime you want.
You did about a year and a half military service. I know you applied to university, but you didn't get in. And that seemed, at the time, due to the fact that your father was against the regime. So obviously you weren't getting any privileges at all. And you made a decision to leave in 1989. So take us through that story.
So luckily I met a guy in Army service who lived right in a city, right at the border, and he knew the in and outs. So August 15, if I remember correctly, 89, crossed the border with this guy. He was the German descent, so he had lots of family in Germany. And I crossed with him. We walked for probably 40 kilometers when we get to Belgrade, which is the capital of former Yugoslavia. We didn't want to stay there because we know the stories, what we heard from radio station, which was also illegal to listen. It's called Radio Free Europe. Lots of people were caught even though you cross in Yugoslavia, they send you back to Romania, and those people in Yugoslavia, they get some reward, I don't know, $200 or something per head. Somehow we made our way to the border of Italy, where his relatives were waiting for us. So he jumped in a car with them, and we went toward Germany. I crossed the border, and I hid in a container, which I didn't know where it's going. I wanted to go as far as possible.
Now, this container was on a truck?
Yes, yeah, with truck.
This was basically a transport container that just held goods, right?
Yeah, there was only furniture in that.
You didn't know where it was going?
No, I just want to go as far as possible from Yugoslavia and Romania. So
and how long were you in this container?
Probably 3 days. And then I woke up in Sweden. So this container went on a ship and then crossed the Baltic Sea and went into from Germany to Sweden. And there were dogs. They smelled me in the truck and they opened the door. It's like, oh, how did you get here? And I didn't speak any English, and they brought the translator, and I told them my story. It's like, what? How is that possible? And they put me in a refugee camp, which was 400 refugees from Middle East, some from maybe Yugoslavia, I think, and 2 Russians. So we were in this refugee camp waiting for our status. They give us food, shelter. After 2 weeks I was there, I managed to call someone in my family to tell my mom, my dad that where I am, because the phones were tapped. Like I couldn't, if I call my mom, they tapped the phone so that they could listen to the conversations. I was in Sweden. Luckily, I met a nice girl there, started learning a little bit of English, a little bit of Swedish. And after December, there was a revolution in Romania where the former president was assassinated and the regime changed. All of a sudden, Sweden said, oh, things are going to be okay in Romania. There's no more persecution. You cannot stay here. We don't give you the green card, and you can go back. We don't send you back, but you go. You're not going to stay here. And I said, no, it's nothing changed. The same people, but now they have a business card, right? So now they are. So I try to figure out what to do next. I was in a limbo. Like I want to stay there, but I wouldn't want to go back. So I found a job for working on a farm. Someone was paying me $5 an hour, which I was happy to get, save some money. And that's how I managed to travel to Gothenburg, which is a port city close to Denmark, because people know the European map. So on May 9, there was holiday, which is a victory day in Europe. People don't work. So we hid on this ship, which we knew where it's going. We went in the back of the ship, which was open, and we hid on the staircases. And I had a bag of food with us, some crackers, chocolate, orange juice, something which can hold us for a long time. And I had $40 in my pocket. This ship we knew stopped in Holland to put some more cargo on. And the next stop was in Liverpool before going to the ocean to make it to Halifax. When we arrived in Liverpool, we were caught by crew members, and they called the British police. And we came on board, and we said we have nothing to do with Britain. We want to go to Canada. So and here we are on journey to Canada.
So you're on a ship for 2 weeks. So you get caught in Liverpool, yeah. Right? But they didn't take you off. Why didn't they take you off? I guess they're going, well, if we take you off, we'd have to take you as a refugee. So what was their thinking there? Because you've got, what did the captain of the ship say? Like, they don't want you on the ship, and they don't want to take you off at Liverpool. How did this all work?
Well, the ships definitely didn't want me there, because if they bring any refugee to other countries, or they have to pay a penalty. So if they had to pay, they pay $10,000 per head for us as penalty to come to Canada. So our luck that the ship was supposed to leave Liverpool at 12 o'clock, and they only caught us at 10 o'clock in the morning. So they had 2 hours for the police to come, to interview us, to decide what to do with us. And so when we said we have nothing to do with with England, then they said, okay, then you have to go. We cannot take you off. So it was a little bit of luck. This commercial ship, they have crew from different parts of the world, either Philippines or Greece or other countries, and they're not as fair and ethical. That we heard stories that people get thrown off the ship because ship has to pay penalty, and that's what they do. So we heard stories, and we were scared that this might happen to us. But the crew was from Sweden and from Norway, and they were really fair and nice. So
Now, did they feed you? Did they make you work? What was that like?
Yes, yeah, definitely. They feed us. They give me work. The ship was in the sea. They gave me this huge hammer where I had to clean the rust in the containers and then paint it. So crazy.
So your job was to clean all the rust off the containers.
I was happy that I was going to Canada, and I didn't care that I had to work.
So when you ended up in Halifax, so I guess the ship would have called the police, obviously.
Yes.
And so take us through that story, and then you ended up getting in the hospitality industry.
So when I arrived in Halifax, the immigration came on board and interviewed me separate from other guy, and we told them we want to stay in Canada, a little bit of our story, and they got off the ship. They put us in a hostel for 5 days, and until they give us accommodation, we shared an apartment. They give us money, so we're really well treated. We're really happy how we're treated. I did my research that if you, the captain actually asked me, did you want to stop in Halifax or New York, which was the next destination? I said, no, I have nothing to do in New York or US. I want to stay in Canada. So US, if you go there, they put you in some jail and they give you food, but you get treated like not as humane. So I was in Halifax for 2 weeks, working in Canadian Tire, and this lady heard us speak Romanian, and she said, "Oh, I speak Romanian. I've been here for 40 years. We have a little motel next to Peggy's Cove, which is a huge landmark in Halifax area. Why don't you come work for us for the weekend?" So I said, "Okay." But this weekend I have a job. I got a job as a dishwasher at a Greek festival. So we go Monday. We went there, and the other guy was kind of lazy, didn't like the labor work this guy gave us, and he went back to Halifax, an apartment. But I stayed there and worked. I never stopped working since.
Wow.
I never benefited from the welfare or the privileges the government was giving us. I was appreciated to be here, and it took me 3 years until I got my status. It took a while to go through the process, but I was happy to have a job and to start a new life. And
good for you.
I was in this motel in cottages, and I was doing everything from digging. These cottages were I was lifting up to winterize them. And in the evening I was working in the laundry room, making the beds, serving breakfast. I was living in a property too. So yeah, I was happy.
Okay, so let's move on to where you are now. Now you're living in Vancouver. How long have you been in the real estate business?
It's been 12 years.
12 years. Good for you. So how did you decide? So I know when you first arrived in Vancouver, you're still in the hospitality business. What caused you to get into the real estate space?
Well, I love hospitality, and because it's kind of people business, and I'm even though I'm green, I'm a little bit of blue personality as well. So
right.
I love hospitality. Has kind of been my passion. So when I arrived in Vancouver, I worked for a good chain, Westin, and you want me to move. In order to move up, I have to move away. So I had enough of traveling, enough of moving. I want to have roots in Canada and Vancouver. So it took me kind of maybe 6 months to decide, and I thought real estate is still a people business, and there are lots of transferable skills. And I've already been doing real estate transactions on my own, kind of buying, selling properties. We were talking earlier about how expensive Kitsilano was. So when I arrived in Vancouver, the second week I got here, I bought a property $175,000.
My congratulations, because, I look at what you've been through and where you are today, and you're just a story that needs to be heard by many, because it's an inspiring story. So, now you're married, you got a family. It's pretty cool stuff.
Thank you very much. It's Sue listening. Thank you, Sue, for putting a good word for me to be able to share my story. And I know this has been 30 years. I'm more Canadian than. If anyone asks me where you're from, I normally say I'm nationality Canadian, but ethnically I'm Romanian. So I'm a changed man. I'm so Canadian. I love my Tim Hortons and my hockey.
Good stuff.
But the experience kind of always stay with me. Like I always think of the different experiences I went, and makes me more determined every day, because this is not being a solopreneur, being real estate is not an easy gig, and you have to be determined. And there's no plan B. You have to make it. So.
Yeah.
And thank you for your organization, the culture you created. It's been really, really helping me to become a better person, and therefore a better business person. So thank you to you.
So we're going to go the lightning round, and then we're going to go to the big three. So just for fun, favorite food?
Has to be pasta.
Pasta. Okay. Favorite movie?
Anything with boxing, Muhammad Ali, anything like that. I
like that. What book should everyone read?
A book which kind of makes a difference for yourself. Like for me, like I said, don't sweat the small stuff. It's all small stuff.
Yeah. Well, and you probably know that more than anybody. You know what I mean? Like, you're right. Like, are you kidding me? I had a deal fall through? Are you kidding me? Yeah, you should spend 2 weeks in a boat where you're not supposed to be there. Favorite hobby?
Soccer.
Soccer, very good. That's right, because you're a very good soccer player, by the way. That was in your book.
Thank you. Yeah, I play professionally since I was 9 years old.
Yeah.
Now I'm coaching. So.
Oh, good stuff. Favorite day of the week?
Sunday. This is my day off in real estate, and I get to enjoy with the family, or I get to re-energize.
Good stuff. What's your biggest stressor?
Biggest stressor, people who don't do what they say, what they promise.
I can see that being a problem with you, because I can see that, you're very determined, you got a very strong work ethic, and I'm pretty sure if you say something's going to get done, it's going to get done.
You bet. That's how I build the trust with people. It's not empty words, but action. When I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it at that time, what I'm going to do. So.
Good stuff. What are you most excited about right now?
Excited about the future. Every day is different. That's why I love this business. After 12 years, I'm still passionate. I'm still waking up to be energized. Like today, I was excited to talk to Bill and talk to you. I'm not sure who comes in first, but sorry, just a joke.
Just so you know, everybody, Bill is his coach, and he happened to have a coaching call today as well as we're doing this podcast interview. So it's okay for you to say Bill. I can accept that, because I'm sure he'll be listening to this.
Yeah,
I know you love Bill. Okay, so let's go to the big three. So small giant, you've hung out with us a long time. You sort of get this, but what is an actionable idea that is relatively easy to execute, that if done consistently would produce an extraordinary result in somebody's personal or professional life, based on your experience?
The answer is in a sentence, Rich. It's consistency. Don't stop and go. Do things consistently. People will notice you. So in our business, people forget who you are and what you do, and that's how you build relationship and trust. So do things consistently, and results will come.
Can you share a customer experience that was so positive that you instantly became an advocate of that company or person, or something that somebody has done to you that turns you into an advocate?
I have few experiences, but I like to tell experiences which I done since I've been in hospital business. I I had so many experiences and situations where I work in a hotel and these people forgot their wedding dress, and they went on a ship, and that was their big day, and they couldn't come out from the ship, and I drove there, went into a secure area and delivered their dress, and they were overwhelmed, blown away, and so happy, so grateful. So that was the experience. I like to give more than receive. So giving it's receiving. You have that saying. Can you correct me?
Giving starts the receiving process.
You got it. Yes, thank you.
Yeah. So you were in a hotel, working in a hotel. They forgot their wedding dress at the hotel, and now they're on the ship in a secure area and they can't get off.
Correct.
Yeah, that's a great story. Okay, based on what you know now, what advice would you give to your 20-year-old self?
Would I do the same thing over again? The answer is yes. Take risks.
Very good. Yeah, because you took a lot of them, didn't you? I like that.
I'll do it again.
So, closing thoughts. My tagline is, you know, it's a beautiful life. Make it count. What's a beautiful life to you?
Enjoying it every day. It's a gift. Enjoy your. Be appreciated. Be grateful for what you have, because you don't know what tomorrow is going to bring. So be grateful and live 100% every day, no matter what age, and enjoy every day.
Thank you, my friend. This has just been a real pleasure for me. And I'm glad that I had the opportunity to get to know you a little bit better, because as I said, we've seen each other at the event, spent some time together, chatted, but I had no idea about your history and your story, and it's very, very inspiring. So thank you for taking the time.
Thanks for the opportunity.
Yeah.
And if anyone had any questions, I hope this podcast is inspiring some way, and welcome any feedback, any questions. So.
How could people, what's the best way for people to get a hold of you, to connect with you?
Definitely have my website, michaeltudorie.com, and or contact me by phone 604-910-7777.